So the Texas THC ban has risen from the dead, and it is walking around in the halls of the Senate like a zombie. The Senate Republicans in Texas are once again coming after THC. They're looking to pass another ban bill in the special session, even against the governor's wishes. You know, they talk about psychosis, but I'm pretty sure the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over multiple times and expecting a different result. That sounds like a sort of a psychosis to me, but we're going to see exactly what they said in these clips right here.
Feels a little like Groundhog Day. We've literally allowed an industry to spring up underneath our feet, screaming it's legal when it's not, and some have bought into that narrative, to produce the very same things, only probably worse because they're synthetic and others and the hotter brands that we fight so hard to keep out of this country. It is inconsistent with who we are as a state to not support enforcement officers in their ability to get their heads around this and arms around it. And you'll hear from them later. It is not a regulatable situation. There's no way to stay ahead of the chemistry. DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, federal level, synthetic cannabinoids are not hemp as of August 21, 2020 rules and are deemed controlled substances. Since last session, which has not been that long ago, I've had 3 or 4 calls. I'll say one of them was a family friend of my daughter's, and I did not know this background. Son committed suicide after participating in these products.
We've never been able to control anything with age. I mean, not just by a year or two. I'm talking about 8 and 9-year-olds access to cigarettes and cigars and alcohol and beer. But it's regulated. They can't do that. Why would we think we could do any better with this? So they use that as an argument, which totally destroys any thought about trying to regulate. This is one of the things that's not possible. It's like trying to tell people to pick up water with their hands. It isn't going to work. It's obvious that the opposition is based all their argument, not parts, all of their argument on outright lies and misrepresentations. You clearly show that there is no significant impact to businesses out there as a result of this. And I like the issue added about there is an opportunity for some of those who often are castigated by this body, the trial lawyers, as an opportunity to actually go do something good and take on those companies that were hoodwinked with these agreements they've entered into and take them into court. That's a good use of our legal system, a good use of actual trial lawyers helping folks out there. And I cannot see anybody who comes up here and testifies that any of these things should be done. I think we're bordering on being truthful in their testimony. And I'd warn them to be very careful in what they have to say. Truthful testimony is what we want, not fabricated lies. We'll regulate it. We'll regulate it by banning, because we've tried regulation on other things.
First off, you made a really important statement. You said that the TCUP program in Texas is the most robust program in the nation. Would you expound on that a little bit?
I believe it is, and I don't know how you'd actually have the metric, but we went from 3 licensures that were struggling because this industry almost put them out of business by being a retail outlet for things that are not offered through TCUP, but people sought relief through that. So we expanded 3 to 15 licensures last session.
What we found was this was a criminal enterprise. Like, this is the same thing we've done when we talk about drug dealers. We've just legalized these folks, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. We had almost 5 million business accounts of cash at homes, and pallets of these illegal substances that we're having to store, which is just another nightmare of all these high concentration amounts of THC that we're removing.
So that is just a few highlights of the crazy things that we heard today on the Senate floor in Texas. And when I say we, I'm not alone. I got Rado Ivanov here from TexaKana Organics. He was there suffering through it all today, hearing those public testimonies and invited testimonies. We are going to dive into all of the little details and the highlights, even the lowlights of what we just went through today, and kind of unpack some of the lies that this side of the legislature has about this billion-dollar federally legal industry. Even when they're reminded time and time again that they need to represent the will of the people, I think the Senate Republicans are having a hard time remembering who they really work for. And there's a lot of donations that are coming to surface here about different organizations donating to people politically to ban hemp. I want to get Rado's initial personal opinion on like what we just experienced, what we went through. There is so much to unpack, and likely this bill will make it out of committee by easily the end of the day or the week here. They're going to move very fast on this. The Senate is dead set on a THC ban. How did you feel about hearing everything all over again today?
Man, it was depressing. Honestly, it was what I expected. I didn't expect anything different, but it was depressing. It was set up exactly the way they wanted it. It was all the witnesses, all the expert witnesses were for the ban bill. Everybody was, saying the same things and how psychosis affects their kids. When I say kids, they're mostly adults, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing all over and again. And it is like insanity, man. It's I don't know how else to explain it.
This you said it in your testimony. This is just SB3 that just got vetoed, basically, copy and pasted in its original form. It's starting from square one, and again, wasting a lot of time when there's a lot of other priorities out there for Texans right now. I know there's plenty of priorities that I would choose over putting the police out there to arrest people for hemp.
That's the worst part. I mean, as we know, like here in Texas, we just had a devastating event happen 2 weeks ago. There's literally still people missing. There is hundreds of people dead with the flooding, and they chose to start the session and to start the committees with banning hemp again, which didn't work the first time. So I'm not even sure what we're doing here.
It's tough. They open up these things with an echo chamber immediately. They pad and structure these committee hearings in a way that they want and what works for them. And so when they open up this committee hearing to talk about SB 5, another THC ban bill, they immediately bring in invited testimony. All of the invited testimony are not only the same people from before, of course, but they are specific people that are reading a script, that are going over the same talking points, pushing the same narrative as them. So instead of a committee, bipartisan committee, coming together and hearing public testimony or inviting actual experts and hearing all the data, they choose to just ask leading questions to their invited testimonies and have this echo chamber where they just hear the same things come back at them and reassure themselves over and over and over on record. And then when public testimony rolls around, they're gone. They're gone. There's priorities right now like flood relief, acting fast on certain things in the special session. I get it. There's things that, there's only a finite amount of time for all of this. Having the echo chamber initially, I think, really solidifies what Texans already know. And that is most of the Republicans refuse to just even have this conversation. They refuse to budge, and they're going to toe the line of the lieutenant governor to their own demise.
Exactly. And when you say questions for the expert witnesses, it wasn't even questions. It was more like statement. So that's what the lopsided thing is. Like when the expert witnesses are testifying and when the people are testifying for the bill, their questions, they give them a lot more time, like tens of minutes. And then when our turn came and the people started speaking and people from the industry, they're a lot more experts into this specific subject because we are in the industry. We see these things day in, day out. And when our time came, they didn't ask no questions. Everybody had 2 minutes. When the bell rings, that's it. That's your time. It doesn't matter if you finish or not, your sentence, they cut you off and that's it.
Something that's important that I can, since we have a platform, we have way more than 2 minutes now. The thing that I hope people were watching this. I really do. I think that these people have dug a political grave. They're trying to die on this hill that they have failed over and over and over again. And this is the third time that the ban's been introduced just this session with the regular and the special. It was introduced once in the Senate as a complete ban. It was introduced again in the House and flipped to a complete ban last minute. And now the third time, the charm now is SB 5, which is literally the same language from square one with a few minor details. We don't have a rehearsal. There's not a rehearsal for this. We had 12 hours notice to show up today, have a message. So you almost have to speak from the heart. But now we have a platform and we can say this. I don't have enough time in 2 minutes or 2 hours, 2 days to explain how much products like being a part of TexaKana Organics and being a part of just these products reaching people and changing lives. I don't have enough space on this phone to keep a photo of every single person that we've helped and that sent us a review, sent us an email, thanked us in person, cried on testimonies, come forth, got the courage to come forward. I don't have enough time or space to illustrate that for these lawmakers. And part of what I mentioned in my testimony was, you guys are just, unfortunately, listening to the wrong noise. There's a lot of political pressure. There's a lot of ego on a lot of this, and there's personal vendettas, I'm sure. We have so much more power, I really believe. There are people clipping stuff live at the testimonies that you're seeing on the internet. So whether you watched it live or not, Texans can understand like how far behind our lawmakers are on this subject.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's an echo chamber. So is there, like, they're not really asking questions. They're like, they want to hear exactly what they want to hear, and if they hear anything different, they just don't they walk out, or they just don't want to like hear it, process it. They don't want to ask questions. So how are we supposed to get our, I mean, thank God for your, for your platform here that we can, talk, and we have more than 2 minutes. But if it wasn't for that, how do they hear? Like, and the thing is, okay, I understand that it might be a situation where THC creates a, like, if somebody had a predisposal, right? Or we don't know like how those things happen. But how does a ban help that? Like, a ban stops any research. Like, if I'm a parent and if my kid, has an issue with THC and becomes psychotic, like, I would want to know like exactly what caused it. I don't want to ban THC. I want to know. I want it to be researched so I can help other kids. And not by banning. It's like closing our eyes. Like, if your house is on fire, you don't ban gasoline and matches. It's, you have to research. You have to find out what causes that. And when I say research, like actual experts, like medical field experts, not mothers of, and that's unfortunate. Like, I feel bad for them because that's their situation, and they're probably fighting for it because that's what they know. But in the same time, the majority of people, like by a big margin, have a good experience. It helps them. So you say, okay, we're going to take this like 2 out of 100 situation, 2%, and then we're going to try to help people just because of that 2% that they had a bad reaction, right? And what about the 98% that benefit? What about their kids? They have epilepsy and they're literally able to live and function because of those products. Like, how do you choose which kids are more
The
important?
consensus that I'm getting from going through this for months now and fighting this fight is that THC in Texas is okay as long as a doctor gets rich and the cops sell it to you. That's what the Republicans in Texas believe should happen for Texas cannabis. It should only be allowed if a doctor gets paid and you get it from the cops, the Department of Public Safety, basically public safety and police enforcement agency for Texas. They control the teacup program, which they like to say is the most, the most robust teacup program in the state.
In the states, yes.
Well, it's the only teacup program because there's only one state that it's in, Texas.
Right.
Texas Compassionate Use Program. So it's easy to be the most robust program when you are the program.
Right.
So compared to the United States, that's absolutely not true. Not even remarkably close. And they double down on it again. This is the most robust medical program. We're expanding it to all of these select few winners that we choose to be ran by the Department of Public Safety and the pill mill doctors, and it's federally illegal. There's a clip. I'm going to play this clip really quickly for everyone on them talking about banking and talking about how much cash is out there right now in this
And
industry.
how dangerous that is for the public safety.
Yeah, I'm going to play that clip for everybody so they can see that just look at what happens.
There's so much money being made. I remind members that if you're in this industry, federal law prohibits these dollars from these deposits on these sales of these products being deposited. Now, some of these other states that have legalized recreational, I think they have banking systems that are in place to do it. I'm not aware of it, but the feds did so serious that did not want this to go where it has evolved to, that they did not want you to actually be able to transact businesses. They didn't want you to deposit money in their bank for fear that it would be based on drug sales.
So they want you to believe, obviously, from watching this clip, that there's cash in every, behind the walls of every smoke shop, every dispensary. These people in the safe, these people are flush with cash, they're washing this money, they're criminals. We're not, because we can bank federally, because we're federally legal, because we're hemp.
Yes, honestly, and this is me operating a company in the hemp space. Like, we don't take cash. We rarely take cash. Like, we don't want to take cash because we can take credit cards, you can take Zelle, we can take ACH, we can take transfers. Why would I want to take cash? Why would I want to put myself in danger? Like, and that's the thing that they don't understand. Like, this is not a dispensary. It's not. We don't only take cash. It's a federally legal business. We bank with big banks, not like even small, like
The biggest banks.
Yes,
Not big.
yeah.
The biggest.
Yes. So it's, I don't know, it's so crazy to hear that they basically they don't know what they're talking about. And the police officer or the police chief that was speaking today, he was saying that how is becoming more dangerous in his community, because all these places are supposedly are about to be robbed, and they are targeted by criminals because of all the cash that they have. Well, I go to stores almost every day, and I can tell you that they don't have cash. They don't pay with cash, and they take credit cards and they take debit cards, and it's just not true, man. It's so misguided.
It's not a loophole. It's not gymnastics. It's not fraud. It's absolutely, like, the banks ask us for all the paperwork. They ask us for all the SKUs that we're going to actually put on there. So each individual product, they're going to know about it, analyze it, get a reading on it, get a testing on it, 100%. So all the way through and through.
That's how you can open an account. That's exactly the guideline for how to open a bank account for hemp businesses.
And the banks have a lot at risk. If they're not going through the due diligence of compliance and approval processes, their ass is on the line. So these large banks are now, there's literally, I can name several federal banks, the largest banks you can think of that are on every street corner. Think of those banks. That's who we're talking about. Taking and processing money from hemp in the hemp industry legally, but they can't, won't, and don't do that for the TCA program, medical marijuana in any state, and recreational in any state. There's no banking for that. There's a loophole. There's workarounds where they can become an ATM and all this stuff that is illegal, but they do it anyway. And yet we're the loophole, and we're these, giant stash houses of cash. It's just not true. It's insulting to a lot of these business owners. It's insulting to a lot of veterans out there. I think that they blatantly say, you're not competent enough. You're not smart enough to make your own decision. You can go to fight war. You can go buy alcohol, buy a gun, but you're not smart enough to make a decision on your own recreation or health and wellness or free will. I think that's insulting. I think it's insulting that we label these hard-working Texas business owners and small businesses and entrepreneurs terrorists, cartel organizations, foreign nationals. They don't know anything about us.
Poisoning kids.
The lawmakers believe we're adding a bunch of things. They believe we're synthesizing a bunch of things and making synthetic things out of thin air. That's all been illegal for quite some time. One thing I wanted to note was today we actually had individuals come and testify that were affected by some sort of cannabinoid product and hemp product. There are definitely people out there that should not get access to this or should be very careful. And I think that part of the Texas Growers podcast, part of things like TexaKana Organics and all of the other high-level operators in the industry are responsible for is educating people on a lot of this. It's not always getting high at home. It's not always, not everyone is safe when they use things. Not everyone is responsible when they store products. Not everyone is responsible when they sell products. I think there needs to be a draw to the negative side of cannabis. I loved that there was some opposition there that was for the bill because they, not their mommy, not somebody telling a far off land story about a friend of a friend of a friend who was related to a cousin that moved here from so-and-so that had a psychosis. An actual person in the flesh that said, I, as an adult, tried one of these products that I thought was safe and I was affected by it. And I think we should talk about that. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like you said, I mean, we have the responsibility in this industry, especially. We have a big responsibility because cannabis is not for everybody, and we've been saying this from day one. You have to, and I hate the word use because it makes it sound like a drug, which is not. But enjoy. We should enjoy responsibly. We should teach people, educate people on the effects, on a possible side effects or any kind of bad reactions to it. Like if you're predisposition, like I said, to any mental health situation, you should avoid cannabis, like full stop. If like dosages, right? Like everybody is so different. Like everybody endocannabinoid system is different. So it's a different, I have a different tolerance than you do. So everybody should be educated. Like there's no like, and that's the thing about like when we talk about regulations and different caps on milligrams or percentages, it's like everybody's so different. So you can't like have like one dose for everybody. It doesn't work that way with our bodies. So, but we need to educate the people and the consumers and telling them, hey, start with this, see how you feel. Then if that's not enough, you can move on. Or if that's too much, scale back. But we have to get that education. And I'll be the first one to admit, some of the people in our industry are not doing that. And I would call them out. Like I go to stores, like I said, I visit stores and I see the people there in the front lines, like you said. So I talk to them about how to educate people because they're the one facing the customer. They are the ones that they can relay that information and educate. Like that's our responsibility, and we take that very seriously. Like within like videos of like how to and what to do, what not to do. So responsible use or enjoying responsible.
But we can't force adults to listen to us. Just like I don't think the government will be able to. In making laws like this, sweeping, like just ban everybody that uses this as a criminal. This all one size fits all. There you go. It's, we can put education out there. Alcohol companies do that. A nicotine company will put that warning like you will get cancer and die if you use this, and people buy it. You can't force someone's free will as much as we all try. And I think we need we have a responsibility to do the education. But like at the end of the day,
it's the responsibility of the person,
the person
taking
who
the product.
Purchases it. That's an adult. That's the and here's something that's interesting, and I know it's out there, is that things on the box, on the front of the box, don't match with what's on the back of the box. And as shady as it is for companies to dare to put a cannabinoid cocktail recipe on the front to say that you're going to get every cannabinoid under the sun in one puff and it's 10,000 milligrams and so potent and you're going to get high. And then you turn it over and the only ingredient in that vape device or a gummy is Delta 8. If it's even Delta 8. Shame on those companies. Shame on retailers who push those brands without doing the research. Shame on everyone perpetuating businesses like that in our state. But if you're an adult, turn the fucking pack over and do your research and make sure that you're getting what you think you are. Everybody has one of these in their pocket. And in the day and age of instant information, you should be able to look up a COA. You should be able to do some research online and read reviews. You should be able to try to find if that's a reputable company or not. If you don't want to, that's your free will too. But no amount of education and everything is going to solve the problem that is, it's an adult's responsibility.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest points here, and one of the biggest issues that I have with a ban itself is, taking the freedom of Texans. Like, you're taking a freedom of choice of adults, not kids, of adults. You're taking the freedom to choose to self-medicate, because all they were saying today is that you cannot self-medicate, and the only way that you can get THC is if you call a doctor, and who knows where that doctor is. He's never going to see you, but over the phone he can, prescribe you THC product from the teacup just because he heard your voice over the phone and you sound very much like a PTSD person. So this is the thing, like, they're taking a freedom of choice. Like, okay, how do you decide what companies to be in that teacup program? Can a small, like a family-owned business like ours be in teacup? I don't think so. So how are you choose who are those companies and why are they the chosen ones that they can prescribe a medication? So this is the thing too. It's like the same exact products. We sell the same exact products as the teacup. If they come from the teacup, they're holistic, they're medicine, they're helping people. If they come from the hemp industry, small businesses, they are poison. They attract they attract kids. They're trying to advertise to kids. They are unregulated. So it's the same exact products.
THC is only legal in Texas if a doctor gets paid and you get it from the cops. That's how they want this. I want to bring up another testimony that really struck me today, and I don't personally know this individual, but I want to play it for you because it speaks to something that I believe is a very important topic right now. And I think that hemp and the assault on THC and hemp and these backwards, outdated ways of thinking have sparked something in the youth and have sparked something in young Texans like myself and others that are taking over businesses, starting families, and starting to pay attention to the kind of bullshit that the Texas legislature is capable of passing without your knowledge. So I want to play this very impactful testimony of a young man who explained how this is not part of the future Texas that we want for ourselves. Take a look.
Senators, my name is Zach Crow. I'm here today as a Christian, a Red Raider, a patriot, and a trial attorney on behalf of my clients. I'm not here today with any sense of naivete thinking I can change y'all's minds. We know what's going to happen here today, but something happened earlier today where Sheriff Hawthorne asked, what kind of Texas do we want? And I'm here today to offer a few ideas of the kind of Texas that I think my colleagues here may wish to see. I want the kind of Texas where personal liberty is placed above safety. And that goes back to what Benjamin Franklin said. And that goes back to what Thomas Jefferson said. And I used to live in Colorado. I've seen what marijuana did out there. And you know what? That was not the onus of the problem in Colorado. We can talk about that later if anybody's curious. But marijuana and cannabis, whatever you want to call it, is not the boogeyman that you're making out to be. I want the kind of Texas where we recognize that prohibition is not going to make kids safer. I can attest, having been a 16-year-old in Texas myself one day, prohibition didn't stop me or my friends from doing what we wanted to do. And prohibition, once again, is not going to stop them. My clients do not sell THC or hemp to children, period. Nobody at this table does, and we wish to see those people in jail. Full stop, every single one of them. Senator Perry's previous comments about the character of people who disagree with him really hurt me as a Red Raider. We came here today in good faith to have a dialogue with our representatives who we respect and trust to make decisions on our behalf, and his ad hominem about our lack of character and integrity because we disagree about the consumption of cannabis is really unfortunate to me. But in the day, sirs, thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and please fulfill your oath to the Constitution to uphold our inalienable rights, to do with our bodies as we please. Thank you.
I say this a lot. This attack on hemp is the final straw for a lot of these representatives, because I can guarantee you that the clips that we will get out of this recorded Senate committee hearing today are going to make their way around the entire state, the entire industry,
And even further than that.
and probably the United States, because all eyes are on us and all eyes are on the debauchery that these clowns keep putting through. Texans of every age woke up on a lot of issues this session, well beyond hemp. And the thing that happens there is that we realize that this is not the direction that we want Texas to go. Do we want it to go the way that California does, Colorado does Oregon do? No, we don't. But I say this all the time. If we could do California over again from square one, how would we do it? Would we take it? Let's take no preconceived notions, no data and information from these bad markets and these bad failures of corruption and greed in these different governments and these state-sanctioned monopolies that they have going on here. How would we do it? And I think hemp is the answer to that, truthfully. And I think in saying that, I think that the younger generation and the youth of Texas, they know how to get on a live stream and watch and pay attention. They know how to call their reps. They know how to send an email. They know how to sign a petition. They know how to make their voices heard. Every representative will tell you over this session, they were inundated with hemp. They were inundated with consumers, with retailers, manufacturers, growers, farmers, just regular everyday Texans that thought it was wrong, veterans, blue-collar workers, white-collar workers, you name it. Every walk of life of Texas was hounding these people over this issue. And I think they're cooked. I think they're cooked. They're the final straw that's broken the back for a lot of these officials that have suggested the same terrible policy and solution over and over and fail. people don't want that. They don't want the 10 Commandments in schools. They don't want government overreach. They don't want things like hemp to be prioritized over flood relief. It's not the will of the people. And I think one of the things that they underestimate and that's deadly is that now we are going to proliferate this information. It's going to start on my show. It's going to be on other people's channels. Some people get more views than me. I know that the Chill Country boys get millions of hits. I know Hometown will get millions of hits on the clips that we're going to be able to pull from this testimony. But I really hope that young people see this and they watch this. And these are the people who you're mad at when things go so horribly. These are the faces of it right here. You can see them. You know their name. We can tell you how to find them, how to contact them, how to make change. So when everyone gets mad and gets irritated at hemp or whatever may come next, it might be abortion, it might be a school choice thing, it might be taxpayer funded lobbying, whatever is next. Remember that it's super important that we pay attention or the wool will get pulled over our eyes very quickly. I hope the youth wakes up and sees that this is not the Texas that we want for our kids, our next generations to come. I don't want the youth to be able to be held up and go through the whole system over a federally legal plant.
And I think that's what those politicians don't understand. It's a new age. It's back in the day they were able to come on TV and they say, oh, this is bad for you, and everybody believes them because they don't have the information like you do right now on your phone. Like you have all the information and you get fact checked. They don't understand that. When Dan Patrick and this guy Senator Perry comes and on a video on a press conference they spill a bunch of lies, and the internet right away can fact check it and say this is a lie, this is not true, this is not. Like they were saying that we're unregulated. Like a quick search on Google, say hemp regulations in Texas. It will show you the DSHS website. It will show you the regulations as far as labeling, the licensing, including fingerprints and applications, also the testing. So all the stuff are there. So when they come and they say things like that, they make themselves look incompetent. They make themselves look stupid. And that's the thing that they don't understand. They still feel that they're back in the 80s or the last century where they had the power to come and say like whatever whatever their agenda was, and everyone would believe them because they were the chosen ones. They're there to represent the people. But now we find out with all the information at our hands that sometimes they don't represent us, which is probably most of the time. And now people, like you said, can get together, can with the social media and everything, they can voice their opinions. Everybody's got an opinion nowadays, and they can express it freely. So and this is another thing. It's the majority of Texans, the people of Texas, that's what they want. They don't want a ban, they want regulations. They said it in posts, in speaking, in letters, emails, like you said. So they already spoken, but if they choose, like they have been, to not listen to us, I mean, they're gonna suffer the consequences, because it's not like Perry was saying, it's not my grandfather weed, or what was he saying? It's not my grandfather politics either.
No, it's not my grandfather's politics. It's not my grandfather's Texas. It's just not anymore. It's a new age. But, it was painful to hear some of the things that they had to say, because even with all this time and the resources to get more educated on it, they didn't. They learned one or two sneaky little trick things. Oh, well, it's THCA. They're adding THCA to all this stuff. It's not natural. A Google search can help you out. It's natural. On every plant that comes out of the ground, it's a full spectrum thing. It just proves that they're hanging on to this for a lot more than they're not ignorant, unfortunately.
They're not. They just choose to serve their agenda in a way that it used to work, but not anymore.
I wanted to talk about this statement as things are heating up. Things in the testimonies and public testimony portion of this committee hearing, things were heating up fast, and some of the star players like Lucas Gilkey were called to testify, which is always insightful. If for emotion or whatever personal vendetta that some of these legislators have for him. So we can see his clip right here and see how the emotions start to rise after that.
Hi, Senators. Thank you for your time. My name is Lucas Gilkey. I'm the CEO of Hometown Hero. I served in the U.S. Coast Guard at a counter-narcotics unit out of San Diego, and I'm currently involved in a lawsuit with the state of Texas regarding hemp. There are a few issues with this bill. One is the hypocrisy of allowing medical studies to be done on products that were consistently, or at least we're hearing today, are claimed to be very harmful. I don't understand why that's in here if these products are considered to be harmful. Also, this industry creates $264 million in state tax revenue and supports 53,000 jobs within the state of Texas. That is extremely important to consider. The financial information that we've been given, or we've seen from the state so far, has been highly inaccurate. No one has died from hemp. I think that needs to be very clear as we're discussing this. There is more than 10,000 alcohol deaths per year in Texas from excessive alcohol consumption per the CDC numbers. Why are we not focused on alcohol? The amount of money that's being provided by the alcohol lobbyists and industry in the state is highly concerning. Also, synthetic cannabinoids have been illegal for over a decade in Texas. The products that we are discussing today are not synthetic. The products that you're seeing people in downtown Austin strung out on and being essentially harmed and just passed out, we see this all the time in Austin. I live here. These are products that are synthetic. These are products that are illegal that are being used. This is not what we are discussing today. The products being sold in the hemp stores are not synthetic. If they were, people would be in jail. These products have been illegal. Synthetic products, synthetic cannabinoids within Texas have been illegal for over a decade in Texas. Thank you for your time.
Not only are we coming off of emotions running high, big players coming to the table to testify now, one senator decides to drop a bomb, and he requests for the floor. He gets granted the mic, and he says,
That's for the committee, and there's a report from the Corn report that Governor Abbott says he now wants to ban consumable THC products. Texas, we're trying to confirm the report right now.
now let me read to you what actually was put out. Abbott says he now wants to ban consumable THC products in Texas. Quote, the only hemp product that's going to be out there is non-intoxicating hemp, which is below 3 milligrams of THC, he told reporter Hannah Norton on Community Impact News. And here we are pulling 3 milligrams out of our ass. We say that 0.3% Delta 9 by dry weight has no effect on how we're governing this, and that's a potency issue. But now 3 milligrams is coming out of thin air.
So how do they come with that number?
Where is the science on this? Where is the research? And this statement is about 2 lines long, so it doesn't really go in depth. But to say that that's a ban is not exactly true. And again, people hung on the words of the governor through this whole first session, and we got a veto. They were saying, oh, he's not coming out, like he's going to go with whatever, and he didn't go with whatever. He made his own decision. So now to say this, that he's looking for something that has maybe a lower threshold, still doesn't lead me to believe that he wants a complete ban on consumable products. Not the only hemp product that's going to be out there is non-intoxicating hemp, which is below 3 milligrams of THC. Here we go with more of these terms where like non-intoxicating hemp to you might not be non-intoxicating hemp to me or someone else. So, and then 3 milligrams to you might be a lot versus 3 milligrams to me. I wouldn't even know any better. It's arbitrary.
It is, and that's exactly what I was saying. It's everybody's endocannabinoid system is different. So 3 milligrams, like, and I don't know how they gonna in a consumable, in a gummy, you can do 3 milligrams, but how are you gonna do it in a plant? Like, how are you gonna, like, or is that just for consumables? Is that for like, so yeah, this one sentence it's not a ban because it's obviously there is a regulation under 3 milligrams. So that's not a ban. That's one thing. And then 2, like, yeah, how do you come up with that? And what what products are gonna be under 3 milligrams? And it's just it's a complicated situation.
It's people making statements. That's what this is. The real fight is not about what the governor releases today, what Sid Miller releases today, what the lieutenant governor releases today. The fight is in these hearings, and the fight is going to the meetings, making sure that we're calling our representatives and telling them that the people, the ones they work for, the people who they depend on to keep that job and that power and that access to passing legislation like this, we don't want this. We didn't ask for this. You got to stay vigilant.
That's the
on it.
most important thing here is the people of Texas, and they, like I said, they've spoken multiple times to multiple channels, is that they don't want a ban. And if the politicians decide not to go with our will, sooner or later they're gonna face the consequences, and we're gonna have a new politicians, somebody that understands medicine and science and agriculture, and understand that the freedom of people is what they value most.
So now I want to dive into probably the hottest 10 minutes of the testimonies. It was cannon fodder, as they say, back and forth between the homies over at Happy Cactus and a couple others on this select panel that you're about to see, and the author of this ominous THC ban bill for the third time around, Charles Perry. And I'm glad these were the folks that were able to go toe-to-toe with Senator Perry. But I want to play this clip for you because it's going to be a long break. It's going to be a long clip because there's just so much. There's so much emotion. There's so much political pressure. There's so much ignorance behind all the things that this senator is going to say. And there's nothing but cool, calm, collected, factual answers from the other side, hemp operators. So I want to play this entire clip so that you guys can see the action that happened on the Senate floor in Texas today over THC from hemp.
My name is Todd Harris, and I represent myself and my business, The Happy Cactus. First off, I heard earlier that all of our businesses only use cash and that we have to stockpile it and that causes more robberies. Our bank requires us every year to submit all of our COAs and testing. We just went through a 30-day process with our bank to make sure that we can still bank with them, so that's not true. I'm also very curious why we are back here debating a ban bill when Abbott said the special session should revolve around regulations, not bills. Very interesting, very cute. Senator Perry pointed out that a court ruling in Arkansas just as justification for what Texas wants to do with hemp. Texas does not take its cues from Arkansas. Texans have spoken for themselves, loudly, clearly, you've heard the facts, and consistently, from veterans to farmers, small business owners to everyday consumers. The message is the same. We don't want to ban, we want safe access, fair regulation, freedom of choice, not government overreach, which frankly, this bill feels like less like Texas values and more like big government in disguise. Some of the arguments being used in favor of the bill are deeply misleading. A few people are claiming that these hemp-derived products are mostly sold to kids, or that their effects on adults are so harmful that no one should want them. This is false, and I will explain why. I own 2 licensed hemp shops in Austin. We serve over 15,000 adults, customers every single year. They come back 2 to 3 times a month. Not one of them is under 21, and we know this because we card every customer, just like we carded Lieutenant Dan Patrick in our shop. Our regulars include teachers, EMS workers, veterans, seniors, contractors, and even doctors. It's pretty wild. If these products were truly dangerous, why would respected professionals rely on them month after month? The truth is, these products are helping people, and I worry that some here are intentionally distorting the truth to push a ban driven by special interest, not public interest. We know Dan Patrick took money from alcohol companies to push this ban. It's actually clearly well documented online. Not really illegal, I guess, but pretty interesting. So Senator Perry, I truly hope that you haven't taken money from alcohol companies as well. As earlier you said that alcohol is a big problem for Texas. Respect the governor's directive, respect the people you were elected to represent, please.
I'm sincerely asking effectively 3 people that are standing here in front of me that say they have a client base that benefits from their product. So let's start with the first question. They're all natural. True?
The products that we sell at our store personally are fully organic and all natural.
Not at the beginning, but all the way through the process. They're all organic. There's no synthetic.
Yes.
There's no chemical alteration or synthesization of the product.
No, all the products that we sell, we grow our own flower, we process our own product,
Okay.
everything's done in.
So second thing, is that true for all 3 of you?
Yes.
Is all your product in Texas, or do you get it from other states?
All of our products are made by us and made in Texas.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what the science tell me. In order to get a true reflection of the content of the THC that's in that plant, on that substance that they're going to smoke in that case, because when you heat it up is when it activates, you have to look at the TCHA component, which y'all will argue because it wasn't Delta 9 and not specifically addressed at the federal level or any level in the hemp bill, that it makes it legal. But when you do total THC for that flower, that joint, to be truthful, and it's what I've hit on all day long, it's not the volume or the grams, it's the concentration and it's the total. THC total cannot be under 0.3% if you consider the THCA component.
Yeah, sorry, I think that's what you're trying to pass, but currently it doesn't, it only refers to Delta 9, so the total THC percentage isn't under the law here in Texas for consumable.
This bill basically outlaws anything that has 0% or more THC.
Yeah,
so it does.
It'll bring it even further below.
So it does address what I just described on the flower component. So all 3 of you today, if you're honest, I'm not suggesting to you to say I'm right, but an honest assessment to get to the actual hot component of the product you're selling requires a total THC count.
So all the flour that we have in the store, we have COAs. It's called a certificate of analysis.
Yep.
And this is a full panel
I've seen 'em.
party tested. And it's going to break down all the cannabinoids from
I've
the
seen 'em.
flour. And it keeps it under 0.03. So
No,
it's
it
within
keeps
the
Delta
limit.
9 under 0.03. It doesn't keep TCHA under 0.3. Actually, you have to add that to the wax to get to the total, multiplied times 0.877. And actually, just FYI, conversations with those that wanted a regulatory ban would outlaw flower today based on the fact that the total THC content is what's not being discussed in an honest way, because they're hanging their hat on the Delta 9 component. Fast forward, the last little bit that you added, we don't monitor Delta 8.
Oh, it's monitored. It just doesn't have to be under the 0.3%. It's definitely monitored.
Well, you just said, and I so appreciate, and again, it's not a gotcha. I'm trying to make the point that I've tried to make all day in last session. Delta 9 at 0.3% is everybody's anchor. If we're there, then everything else doesn't matter. When you synthesize that and it becomes an 8, a 10, or whatever other derivative, it produces a hotter THC element. It concentrates or changes the molecular structure where it's more potent. You do get some effect to it. And so the industry has built an industry around pointing to a legal 0.3%, managed through science to make sure that piece is always there, and then anything after that doesn't count. And that's the problem. So even when you tell me you have people that benefit from your product and it's fully legal, that's a misstatement. That's disingenuous, because it is legal on a 0.3 or less Delta 9 component, but everything you add to it else that is probably why those people feel different, I'm not going to argue they're feeling better, but feel different, is not legal if you were truly answering the question, what is the THC content? You can agree to disagree. That in itself is why regulation doesn't work. It's the sneaky science, and I'll promise you, I'm not misspeaking, I won't speak who, but I've been told by people pushing regulatory bans, THC flower would be gone tomorrow, because the actual COA you speak to clearly points out this is hot, and hot by a long shot, 20, 30, 40%. So that's why you see people like me in this position going, this isn't right. And it's not right whether intentional or not, whether well-meaning believing people thought it was legal or not. I think that y'all are smart enough to know it's not that component that you stayed under legally because you could get there scientifically and add everything on top of that to make it more altering, mood altering, is not counted. That is just not legitimately, or just, it's not true. And that's why your industry's under the spotlight today. They don't build their castles around truth. They, in the TH flower, so they ignore the other half of the formula to get to the total THC count.
So THCA is a different compound than THC.
It's a precursor.
Is flower. THCA refers to flower. THC, hemp-derived THC, can be found in drinks, edibles, things of that nature. Still keeping it.
Let me ask it this way. Let me flip it this way.
Yeah.
If you don't have a THCA in that plant, what does it do? Is it CBD, CBG at that point?
So there's a few different flower options. Like there's CBD flower, there's THCA flower, there's even Delta 8 flower. There's different flower. Yep. These are different compounds.
And it's the industry's manipulation of the science that, well, that compound wasn't listed in statute, so therefore it's legal.
Well, it's not manipulation if it was not written into law, correct?
Well, that's false.
Well,
everybody knew what the intent.
I think you're talking about potency, not actually percentage. So you're saying that we are legally under the 0.2% Delta 9, but if you add Delta 8, Delta 10, it raises the percentage of THC. That is not correct. It raises the percentage of potency, which if we do regulate, we can regulate the potency. And
you can't regulate the potency without having these sophisticated testing and things. But you make my point that I've made all day long. It's not milligrams. It's not dry weight. It's not wet weight. It's not partial weight. It's not weight of the THC in it. It's what is the potency. It's the concentrate that I speak to. It's the distillate in the beverage. Do any of y'all sell beverages?
We do, yes. And they also all come in under the, there's just Delta 9 in the beverages we sell, and it all comes under, unless you want to, I can show you the testing, we can take you to the labs.
I've seen the test, and they make my point for me, and actually, those are federally illegal.
How so?
Because it states clearly, this is not in total THC content, this is in violation. I'm not going to get into the argument of the science with you today.
I'm trying to argue, just trying to clarify.
You've made my point for me. The
I don't think I have, but yeah.
Yes, you did. You made
what was that then?
That Delta 9 is what we hang our hat on, that if it's only 0.3%, but it doesn't matter how hot it gets from everything else in the plant, then we're legal. Because somebody at the time didn't recognize where y'all were going. It was known that it could happen, and it has happened. And because it's happened is why we're having these conversations today. I said clearly, go back and review the tape in Agricultural Committee, chairman of, when I laid out 1325 on this Senate floor, not once but several times, when I laid out 1325. When I went down this road, because I'm from an agricultural district, I said, if the industry takes this and gets cute with it, we would pull this from Texas. And exactly, unfortunately, what was somewhat predictable is where we're at. But I'm not even going to say that, not the manipulation. That indicates, again, that's a negative connotation. The science y'all have been able to deploy that is directly out of line with the intent of what the original agricultural farm bill is why we're here. And your ability to dance around the idea that as long as 0.93% or less is there, then anything else that happens to that plant that gets it to a different feeling product is legal, is just violates the intent, and it's why we're having the problems we're having. And if you were just doing Delta 9, only Delta 9.3%, which is kind of, sort of, not 100%, CBD, CBG, which is non-psychotropic.
And CBN is not psychoactive either.
I understand.
And
CBN has...
if this bill were to pass.
CBD and CBG are specifically legal in this bill. We specifically identify it with 3 other products through the hemp.
I do have a question. Do you know how CBD and CBG are attracted to not have THC in them? It's synthetic. You have to pull the CBD away from the THC.
I'm told that cannabinoid, and again, the science can...
If you don't understand, that's okay. But I do want to say with the medical program, the gummies they have are the same gummies we have. It's Delta 9. So
No, but y'all make that, that's an improper comparison. The big difference is I have medical professionals prescribing medical treatments that are hooking up to other holistic therapy type sessions for your mental health or chronic pain. So the distinction that y'all are like medical providers is absolutely false, and actually you're practicing medicine without a law, and TMA and I just had a big debate over the floor last session about people administering. So if you're advocating this as medical benefit, I just tell you TMA told me that they want to go after things like that. So
we don't say that we're a medical company.
So-
We do have doctors that do send patients to us.
it's not a, well, that doesn't make it a medical directive because most of our drugs come from
Science
FDA.
backs it up.
FDA.
Yeah, because science.
So all I'm just saying is, I appreciate your honesty, because honestly, it's refreshing, because if I had asked those questions to several of the people that filtered through the industry panel here multiple times, multiple conversations, they would have danced around it.
I mean, there's no reason not to lie when we're doing exactly what we were told we need to do on the guidelines in Texas. And that's, I think, why we're frustrated, is because, like, me and my brother born and raised here in Austin. My parents voted for a lot of people here right now, and they're very upset as well because they use these products.
I'm glad you raised the issue, because Dishes, when this first came out, went to formulate Delta 8 provisions, which basically would have outlawed it. It would have put it on our controlled substance list or something similar. It would have outlawed Delta 8. Y'all's industry sued Dishes. I believe they're still under that court case, not because of the merits of putting it on a controlled substance or under a different provision outlawing it, but because they didn't have a public hearing for those rules. So when you say we did this, actually, when we figured out Delta 8 and stuff was going on board, we tried to do it, but your industry, through smart attorneys, give them credit, tied us up and have tied us up. So it's not like we turned a blind eye to what y'all were doing. The times we tried it, we were tied up in lawsuits. Fast forward 6 years, we're still having the same conversations. Had Delta 8 and all of the derivatives that we were identifying as fast as we could, and we would have gotten smarter about how we implemented those by statute and not by rule, y'all wouldn't have those products on your shelf today. So it's a loophole that was exploited.
We did actually. Dishes has inspected our shop 4 times, and we talked to Warren Chambers. He's a great guy. He came in. He didn't know much about the industry at all. He only knew Delta 9 under 0.3% is all he looked for. And he told me there's only, at that time, there were only 8 Dishes inspectors in the whole state, and we've been hit up 4 times, and we passed with flying colors every time. So that means we are actually going underneath the laws that here in Texas.
Well-
They test our flour, they tested our gummies, they tested for metal, pesticides.
Not everybody is.
And I hope
Not
that's
everyone,
the
maybe
case.
there are some. I mean, I talked to Dan Patrick on the phone for 12 minutes when he came into our shop, and he even said, "You guys are doing it right. I like shops like yours." He said it to me, and then the next day he said, "You're all criminals. You're all evil.
Well,
we need to shut you down."
so to that point, and again, it's not really for further a lot of discussion, but to be truthful, under Dish's existing network, y'all are flying under the radar with these. You're flying under the radar. It's not because they're legal. It's because we haven't been successful in pointing to the fact that they are illegal because we're tied up in a lawsuit. So that's not a correct statement. So a Dish's employee that says today you're legal, I know for a fact that if you're getting your product over interstate lines, you're not legal federally. That's
I
clear.
don't believe that's true. I would like to see.
I'll show you that federal
I think
statute.
actually in the Farm Bill it made it to where you can't prosecute for cross transit between
No,
the state.
the plant. We have an Interstate Commerce Act that allows plant movement as long as there's proper manifesto in Texas. So from Louisiana to Mexico across state lines, if it's the hemp plant, it's the agriculture code. FDA specifically prohibits interstate commerce of consumable or products manufactured. If you put a THC in a product and export it to another state, you are in federal violation of interstate commerce. If you have a hemp plant that is compliant with the Hemp Ag Bill, which is 0.3% or less, typically meant for fiber, you are legal on interstate commerce. 2 big distinctions there. And in the Ag Bill, I remember people, we were given carte blanche over how we regulate products.
So I guess also then why haven't those issues been regulated?
With great respect
haven't
to
those
the
issues been
panel.
regulated?
With great respect to
Why
the
haven't those panels been regulated?
With
So-
great respect to the panel.
You answered my questions, Madam
Senator,
Chair.
thank you.
You answered my questions. You answered them honestly. I appreciate it, but you highlight exactly through those conversations, well, Delta 8's not on the radar because it's legal. Well, it's not legal. It's just you've exploited a loophole.
I think I actually
Thank
poked
you,
holes in what you
Secretary.
said, but I do appreciate the conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate you all being here. And we still have several folks that are here waiting to testify.
just wanted
Thank
to-
you for coming. You're dismissed.
Okay.
Thank you.
These representatives are misguided. They're undereducated. They're behind the times when it comes to thinking about anything, talking about anything cannabis, whether it's the teacup program, medical, or hemp, or any recreational product. It's painful to listen to some of this sometimes. And thank you for these select operators that are out there that can hold their own. It's not easy. It's a lot of pressure on the Senate floor. There's a lot of pressure when you're in front of these people. And a lot of times they're asking you gotcha questions on purpose to get you to slip up on record. And these folks held their ground better than most. So applaud to those folks that were on that panel. But I want to dissect the fact that what you're seeing here, specifically the guys from Happy Cactus, they have been inspected 4 times, as they claim here in the clip. They've been inspected multiple times by Department of Health and Human Services, or State Health Services, DSHS, 4 times. There's only, allegedly, I don't know the facts, there's only 8 agents out there to go inspect these retailers in the whole state of Texas, which you can't have 8 people to do anything in Texas across the whole state of Texas. That's ridiculous. So they've been inspected 4 times. Their shop's great. It's very visually pleasing. It's clean. It's nice. It's in a great location. Go by it all the time. They were inspected and multiple times, and they've passed with flying colors. And they put that on record here that they passed with flying colors. Senator Perry's trying to convince everyone on panel and everyone maybe watching that these people are criminal masterminds that are responsible for duping the system, and they're adding THCA, they're making things hot, they got a big lab operation behind it's like Breaking Bad behind the wall, and these guys are just dishonest and they're out of control. They're cute. He likes to use the word they got cute with it. I don't think there's anything cute about being in industry and just making money within the confines of the law. That's pretty much every industry, in my opinion. But they go toe to toe, and the bomb that he's able to drop is the fact that Happy Cactus is the store that the lieutenant governor shuffled into and tried to catch these guys slipping.
That video is crazy.
To pin them to the wall, and that video is crazy. We're actually going to play that clip right here.
What do they got in here? Some illegal THC products. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I'm just working down the road here. I'm Dan Patrick, Lieutenant Governor of Texas. Yeah, I'm just trying to check out your spot here, see what kind of products you got on the shelf. Yeah, don't mind these guys behind me.
Oh, I'm gonna need to see everyone's ID.
Whoa, you won't believe it. They got all these legal THC products. You won't believe what I found down here. It's insane. And they even checked my ID. And they're not selling to kids. Man, I guess I better get out of here. But...
So, you can see the lieutenant governor of our state shuffling into this place, and he gets ID'd. He looks at COAs. He knows that these people are in compliance, and he actually concedes to them before he leaves, caught on camera. He says, you guys are some of the good actors. He walks out. And the next day, he labels them terrorists, children killers, threats to our whole entire society, poison makers, criminals. So that's just who we're dealing with. That's the nature of this beast. And you can see how things heat up when these folks are getting... The pressure's on. The pressure's on. We have a huge platform. We have a decent amount of reach between us, multiple other people in the industry, and we're all working together against a common enemy. This is the largest media push for cannabis in Texas we've ever seen, ever in history. And we're a part of that. And these clips and the things that these people got away with today in the Senate committee hearing, we're going to make sure that Texas sees that. I will guarantee it. In the same way that we mobilize folks from all over the state to come in the wave of thousands to give testimony in the past, and even I would say a large turnout today for what it could have been for knowing about this at 9 o'clock at night the night before. People are mobilized to protect our life, our access, our livelihood, our freedoms, our personal liberties. We're mobilized to protect those things at all costs. And if you see hemp shops, smoke shops, and different retailers mobilizing their consumers and their hundreds or if not thousands of Texans a day of foot traffic that they're rolling through those stores, if you think those places can get calls, emails, and signatures on a petition, just wait until their voter registration spots, right? Just wait until you're trying to get elected in your district again, and where all these hemp shops are, or where all they all used to be, when now they're, this head shops, tobacco shops, whatever they may transform into after you try to ban it or whatever. Imagine what's going to happen when those are satellite offices for your opposition. It's going to be very difficult. And I think more people are realizing that we just have an outdated group of people and an outdated system, and people that are entrenched with a lot of money from alcohol, prison, pharmaceuticals, you name it. They're out there and they're putting money in these people's pockets to kind of come and tell these stories and their narratives, and it's dirty. Yeah, state-sanctioned monopoly, which is what California has done. It's what Colorado has done. It's what Oregon has done. It's what all these failure markets have done, where people they're backdooring product, they're shipping it here, they're going into hemp. Because of the failures of that state-sanctioned program, the grift, the greed, the bureaucracy.
Exactly, and that's
just
the
proven
weird
not to
part.
work.
Is like they're saying, well, we don't want to be next California, we don't want to be next Colorado, we don't want to be next Oregon, but they're doing the same thing that they did. Like a lot of people are saying like, oh, I don't want hemp in Texas because look at California. A lot of people don't know that hemp is illegal in California, and marijuana is legal, that's what the people don't understand. And when they say like, well, don't California my Texas, well, don't do it.
Don't do it. We're begging you, don't do it. This is a fast track to being able to. We're on a fast track to being exactly like California, where our government is choosing to side with a state-sanctioned monopoly of a federally illegal product, cannabis, marijuana, whatever you want to call it, over a federally legal product, hemp.
Yeah, and they're trying to shut down a legal industry, a federally legal industry, making billions in dollars, and they are trying to give billions in dollars into the film industry to make movies here in Texas, which is fine. If you want to make movies, make movies. But why would you take away an industry and then give it to another industry and say, oh, we don't want to be like California, but we want to just take their stuff like how they do it, and we're going to do it here.
In the spirit of this, Texans need to understand that this same legislature and some of the same exact elected officials that were on the committee that we spoke to just today, they passed a bill for ibogaine to be accessed by veterans to the tune of $50 million. That is a psychoactive drug. Yeah, that's a psychedelic drug. So if psychedelics are now okay and they're viewed as medicinal or for wellness or to help veterans and they get $50 million worth of funding, how are we still having a hemp conversation? Because I know for sure psychedelic drugs have never driven anyone into psychosis, right? No way that would ever make sense. No way psychedelics are actually dangerous, right?
Whatever fits their narrative, basically. If a company is a part of Teacup, or if a company is doing something that they have interest in and they are donating to their campaigns, it's good. But if somebody else is doing it, it's competition that's bad. So basically, they choose winners. They choose whoever they want to make money and be able to create a business, and who cannot. And that's not free market. That's not free Texas.
It's not what Texans want. That's why it's not on the ballot. Guys, I got to end this on a high note and a funny note. Two of my favorite actors in this industry, Madison Wickham, Chris Sika, over there at Chill Country, Texas Hill Country Provisions. These guys have been around the block for quite some time, and they always drop bombs on the committee. So I'm going to play one last final clip to kind of end this on a little bit of a high note. These guys always make me laugh because they bring the heat, but they bring it in a respectful way, and they don't hold back. They're not scared, and that is something that I definitely admire about these guys. So check out their testimonies, have a laugh, and then we'll get out of here.
Hey, my name's Chris Sika. I'm representing myself and a company that I co-founded called Chill Country Cannabis. We make low, moderately dosed organic hemp edibles. I'm here today just to remind everyone that the job of the elected officials is to represent the will of the people. We've heard a lot of personal stories today, a lot of anecdotes, some of them extremely sad. Unfortunately, that does not equate to the will of the people at large. So how do we figure out what the will of the people is? We do it with non-biased, nonpartisan polling data. We've heard a lot of studies show. I've heard that a lot today. Well, who conducted those studies? Who funded them? Were they peer-reviewed? Was there a control group? How large was the sample size? Were the results statistically significant? Did they control for confounding variables? I didn't hear any of that today. So here's some polling data that you all are probably already familiar with. The Texas Lyceum poll, which is considered the gold standard in polling data in Texas, did a study in 2024, and it found that 60% of Texans support full legalization of cannabis, which is a 14-point jump since 2015. Another poll was done in March of this year by Baselice & Associates. 68% of voters support keeping THC legal but regulated. Only 20% want it banned, and even 57% of Republicans support legal THC, which is double the number who want it banned, 29%. Remember that we are not here to represent the will of ourselves, the will of the Sheriff's Department, the will of Teacup license holders, or the will of the wholesale beer distributors of Texas. We're here to represent the will of the people. The data suggests that voting for a ban would mean that you're not doing your job, and we'll have to let democracy decide whether you get to keep that job in 2026. Thank you.
My name is Madison Wickham. I represent myself and my company, Chill Country Cannabis, that I co-founded with this guy. I asked for forgiveness for my casual attire. I found out about this hearing at 8 a.m., and I was already out the door for work. Fortunately, I don't have to wear a suit. My name is, I already said that. I'm a native Texan. I'm the co-founder of Chill Country Cannabis. I obviously oppose SB 5. My company makes organic, responsibly dosed, and lab-tested THC gummies right here in Austin. Nothing artificial, nothing synthetic, nothing dangerous. It's a plant. I don't know if it's intentional or ignorance, but y'all continue to conflate safe, natural products like mine with illegal synthetic drugs that are being deceptively sold as hemp at gas stations. Every legitimate hemp business owner agrees that we need to get rid of illegal synthetic gas station drugs, which have been a thing even before 2018. To say that Texas doesn't have the resources to add reasonable regulations to a safe, natural, and federally legal product is a flat-out lie. One of many lies told here today in an attempt to justify your hemp ban. I'm excited to download this live stream and share clips on the free and open internet to show people of Texas that you guys are continuing to misrepresent them. So we'll see y'all at the polls in 2026 if this thing passes. Well, either way, you guys have already dug your own graves politically, so we'll see ya.
There you have it, folks. That's it. They have definitely sealed their fate politically. I think Madison said it best right there in his testimony. So we have so much more to cover over this issue. We seriously can never cram enough information into one video and keep everyone engaged. We're going to come back and keep updating everyone on this fight. We have plenty more to go in this special session. If you're sitting there wondering what you can do, feeling bad about not showing up and helping us today testify, don't worry about it. You can mobilize, go connect with the Texas Hemp Business Council and many other organizations out there on my social media, and you too can get in the fight. You can start calling these representatives, emailing them, and letting them know that the will of the people is that we do not want a ban on THC from hemp. We want to expand our access. In fact, we just want to make sure that the common sense regulations, like getting it away from kids as best as possible, protecting people with safe packaging, being transparent about the ingredients, you name it, those are very easy for a lot of us to implement because we already do that. So help us out, make some noise out there, folks. Our voice works. It worked already, it's going to work again, and they're only running the same exact playbook. So this David and Goliath story is not over, and we have to remain true, stay on course. Them acting this way and them filing these types of ban bills again only proves they have nothing. They have nothing. And they have no interest in budging, and they have no interest in learning about any of this from any credible people like ourselves. So you can help us by keeping up the fight. Make sure that you subscribe to TexaKana Organics on YouTube. You can go find their latest and greatest videos over there, going over all of their high quality products that are clean, green, and I don't know what else rhymes with that, but they're effective, responsible, they're effective. And guys, stay vigilant, stay subscribe to the Texas Growers podcast as well, and all other resources out there for you to make sure that nothing like this slips by if we can help it. Rado, any other final messages from anybody?
I just wanted to say that also the House hearing is gonna come up where people can also come and testify. So that's not the Senate. I mean, honestly, it's what I expected from the Senate. No surprises there. But the House, the people at the House last time they heard us. They used a lot of our testimony and a lot of our common sense knowledge in their proposed bill for regulation. So if you want to testify, if you want to help out, come to the House hearing. Colton is going to announce it when that's out. It's going to be the next month in the special session. I'm pretty sure this bill is the SB 5 is going to pass through the committee probably today, and then they're going to vote on the floor of the Senate, which again, no surprise, is going to go through. So come to the House hearing. Text, email, call your representatives, and the fight is not over. So come and join us.
Come and join us. Get your hands dirty. It's not as scary as it may look. We need as many people as we can get. We want to show every single walk of life from Texas, and your voice matters. And if you can get out here and help us, we're making history here. We're fighting for something that's right. We're fighting for something that's legal. And we don't have any plans of backing down or giving up. So until we have any further updates, guys, keep it real. We'll see you on the next one.